news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. Oil prices are lower. Traders paring back bets on a Fed rate hike. That's moved stocks toward new records. We check markets for you all day long here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 up 0.4%. NASDAQ up 0.5%. The Dow down 0.1%. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.63%. The 2-year yield at 4.14%. Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack says she's not convinced that recent signs of a slowdown in inflation will continue, telling the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce the feds should take action now.
We've gotten two recent reports on the inflation side that are definitely better than the earlier 5 months that we've had this year. And so it's welcome. I love to see that those numbers are coming in lower. That's a good thing. But I don't have confidence that we're going to continue to see that, or that we're going to see them low enough that it's going to bring us back down to that 2% number.
Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack. But Robert Kaplan says the Fed made absolutely the right call by not raising interest rates in July. The former Dallas Fed president and current Goldman Sachs vice chairman says without the Iran war, there would be no talk of rate hikes.
If we didn't have the war in Iran and the spike in oil prices, which I think has raised headline inflation and bleeds into other items, my guess is we might not even be talking about the prospect of a rate increase.
Hear more from Goldman Sachs Vice Chair Robert Kaplan on the Bloomberg Talks podcast. Now, the latest read on inflation at the wholesale level is good news for investors who want the Fed to hold interest rates steady. Bloomberg's Michael McKee with July's Producer Price Index.
PPI for final demand is flat on the month after just a 0.1 fall in the month of June, and that is revised lower from a negative 0.3. Ex-food and energy up 0.2. The forecast was for 0.3. And then the core, the PPI ex-food, energy, and trade up 0.4, which is more than anticipated.
Bloomberg's Mike McKee. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index is more than 1.5% higher, led by Micron, which advanced more than 5%. Now, since SpaceX went public in June, Wall Street has been worried about August 6th, when the first lockup preventing early investors from selling the stock expired and millions of shares flooded the market. But SpaceX has been on a tear since then, soaring 35% in 5 sessions. That added about $500 billion in market capitalization. SpaceX shares right now are about 3% lower, trading at $141 per share. The Trump administration is developing an AI-powered detective border to crack down on trading partners it suspects of helping China skirt tariffs. The White House Trade Office released a report today accusing dozens of countries of being a part of China's so-called shadow transshipment network. We talked about it with White House trade advisor Peter Navarro.
My job at the White House, going back to the first term and the first day, is to protect American workers and businesses from predatory mercantilist practices. And as you know, China leads the list in that category.
You can hear our entire interview with White House advisor Peter Navarro on our video hub at Bloomberg.com. Turning now to the Middle East, the Trump administration relying on a steady increase in economic sanctions and a naval blockade to stifle Iran's oil exports. We get more with Bloomberg News Middle East managing editor Onar Ant.
The immediate diplomatic picture remains extremely difficult. Efforts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz are essentially deadlocked, with Iran basically digging in on its position that the U.S. must meet its demands before the waterway can fully reopen, and those demands are very significant, as you know, including the lifting of sanctions as well as an end to the war against Iran-backed groups across the region.
Bloomberg's Onar Ant. Crude oil prices are about 1% lower, WTI at $82 a barrel and Brent crude at $88 a barrel. And the U.S. is preparing to send the aircraft carrier USS George Washington to the Middle East to replace the USS Abraham Lincoln. Lawmakers have raised concerns about living conditions aboard the Lincoln, which has undergone an extended deployment with few port calls, prompting reports of mental health issues and shortages of basic supplies. The Lincoln has been deployed for more than 250 days with no port call in 200 days. Colombia turned down a Mexican rescue team that was ready to assist with earthquake rescue efforts. The government is restricting foreign personnel to certified self-sufficient teams, and the Mexican crew is a highly specialized volunteer search and rescue brigade. International help is starting to reach Colombia, with the U.S. sending tech teams and announcing $15.5 million for emergency shelter and food. The 7.4 magnitude quake that struck on Monday was the second strongest recorded in Colombia in the past century. At At least 265 people were killed, nearly 3,500 are injured, and 500 more are missing. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.